Hello, everyone. I am Pastor Quay, and I am the founder of the Made Beautiful by God community. And in this community that I have created with God is where we as women can get together, grow together in business, grow together in our purpose with God, whether it's business, ministry, or even if you're feeling down and you need a little pick me up. Here, I want to remind you that even the things you go through can be turned into something beautiful. That ugliness or those ashes can be turned into something beautiful. And this is what God wants us to know. So hence our community. So we're here to grow together, have fun together. Um, and that's what I have, about that. So today we are having our Bible Talk Wednesdays. So I'm excited. Last time we talked about determination, and so hopefully you all watched that and was encouraged. But today I don't even know if I have a topic. If I have to do a topic off the spot, it would be our Hannah moment. We're having a Hannah moment. And this is just how God gave it to me. I have been going through some things, trying different things, business, uh, starting a new business in real estate, expanding my coaching business. It's just a lot of different things that I've been pulled at. But in all the things that I've been pulled at, I'm not seeing the return like I would like to see it. And sometimes when it goes that way, we get so discouraged, so um frustrated, and we're like, God, now I'm doing this thing unto you, but I'm not seeing the results. I'm not seeing the things that I want to see. So in the moments that I was feeling this, God said, Hannah, your Hannah moment. This is where you are. So I went and read this, and I want to read these scriptures to you. We're going to go through these scriptures, kind of break them down because it's our Bible talk time. We're going to talk about these scriptures. And so I'm going to read First Samuel chapter 1, and we're going to start from verse 2. And I think we're going to go all the way to verse 13. And I know it's a lot of verses, but I'm going to try and wrap it up as much as I possibly can. But this is a word that we need. And it's timely. It's timely for me. So that means I know that it's timely for some of you ladies as well. So getting into it, and excuse me if I don't say these names correctly, but I'm going to try my best. So we have verse 2, First Samuel chapter 1, verse 2. It says, um, we're talking about, to tell you his name because it's going to say he, we're talking about, let's see, his name is Elkanah, Elkanah, anyway, Peninnah and Hannah's husband, him. So it says he had two wives. One was called Hannah and the other was called Penina or Peninnah, one of the two. Peninnah had children, but Hannah had none. Year after year, this man went up from his town to worship and sacrifice the Lord Almighty, where Hophni and Phinehas, the two sons of Eli, were priests of the Lord. Whenever the day came for Elkanah to sacrifice, he would give portions of the meat to his wife Peninnah and to all her sons and daughters. But to Hannah, he gave a double portion because he loved her. And the Lord, although the Lord had closed her womb. Now, I'm going to stop there. We're going to pick up at 6 next, but I'm going to stop there because already we see what's going on. Okay. We see that there's a competition going on. And one thing that we don't like is competition. And one thing that it should not be. And one thing that we shouldn't feel is competition with somebody else, because how God created us, we all are producing something special in our own way. But there's two wives, and you can't even have two people in the kitchen. So you definitely can't have two wives sharing a husband, because there are certain things that start to come out and start to show. So now we have competition. It gets on, we see it on down the chapter and things, how these two women was kind of competing against each other. Not saying that they thought about it like that, but we say competition because that's two people, two women with one husband. So that's already a hard situation to be in. And then you have where the husband, he go make sacrifices, and all the portions that he has, he starts to ditch them out. And Panana has children, so he gives them a portion of his sacrifice for her and her children. And then he goes and gives Hannah double portion, who don't have children. Now, when you see this situation and we think naturally, like, how does that make sense? I'm the one have the kids. How do I only just get a portion? Okay. How do I only just get, and she just get double and she doesn't have children? But then we have Hannah on the other side, like, I might be getting the double portion, but I want the kids, you know? So when you think about these things, so God has both of these women in a position, but nobody's looking at their position, and they're not looking at their position as a blessed place position to be in. Hannah had the heart of her husband, but Peninnah was producing some fruit that Hannah wasn't producing. So that alone gave her favor with her husband. You know what I mean? So when we think about this, we think about our relationship with God. God has all these children. We ain't the only, we're not the only children God has. It's a multitude of children that God has, which means that some of them may seem like they're getting blessed right away, or some of their blessings may be in our face, like, bam, I'm blessed. You know what I mean? But your blessing may be a little subtle. Like Hannah, it was very subtle. When she walked, people may, or go out into public, people may not have noticed the blessing. People may not been able to tell that she had favor with her husband, or that she was receiving double portions, which means she had way more than enough just for herself. What they could see though is Panana and the children. Because back in the day, if you have children and you give your husband an heir, that's saying something. That's showing the blessing and how favored you are by God. So when you see these two women's situation, and then you're like, but she got their kids and she got the favor, they're not seeing where they at. So what Panana started to do, I'm gonna go down to verse 6. Because the Lord had closed Hannah's womb, her rival kept provoking her in order to irritate her. Now, I was reading this years ago, and God automatically let me see that it wasn't Peninnah that had the power to irritate, but it was God that caused Hannah to be irritated. And why did he cause Hannah to be irritated? He caused her to be irritated because it was some prayers that Hannah had to pray. But she wouldn't have prayed or stood or looked for things that happened. She wouldn't have looked for things that happen if she wasn't irritated. So we in the place, like the place that I'm in my life right now, God said he was causing me to be irritated. Have you ever been in a place where you've been content? You was just content in the place that you were in. But then you had a friend on the left hand. Now I'm gonna start talking about my friend. Okay. I have a friend on one hand. I'm cool, content, and I'm still content. Okay, but just an example so you all can see, and she gonna laugh. But I have a friend, and I love her so much, and she has the favor of God on her life. Okay, just the way that anybody else does, just that God chose her, to have favor on her. And this girl, she goes and she gets this car, not you know, weren't looking for nothing. Okay. She wasn't looking. She wasn't, God just blessing her. You know, you don't know what she's been through. God has been blessing her, and that has been touching my heart. Then she goes and she go get my dream car, y'all. The girl go get my dream car. It wasn't even her dream car. It was mine. It was my dream car. And the thing about us, we don't really talk about material things when we talk. If we're not talking about life or God, it ain't worth it. Okay. So we're not talking about material things. We're not saying, oh, I want this car so bad, or oh, I just gotta have we just not that's not the type of friendship we have. Okay. So she didn't know it was my dream car. I didn't know it wasn't hers. This is not something we talked about. So she goes get the car, and I'm good. I ain't even thought about the car. It's my dream car, but I ain't even thought about it in years. I had it in a vision board years ago. Haven't thought about it. But since she got it, God has been bringing it more to my mind. Go pick out the car you want. Go get this. Go, you're going to get this car. And I'm like, Lord, but I really was content. I didn't think about that car. I didn't want, you know what I mean? Just to show y'all an example. God will bless people around you so you can get out of a place of contentment in a way that you can be content with God, but you cannot be content with your situation. You can't be content where you are because God is trying to elevate you somewhere. He's trying to take you somewhere. But since you're like, oh, God, I'm just so good over here, I'm good over there. God's like, hold on. Since you're so good, you don't think you got to pray for some things. You don't think you have to knock on some doors, and you don't think you have to ask questions. You don't think you have to ask me for anything because you're so content. You learned how to be content where you are, and that's good. But I need you to grow. I need you to be elevated. So this is where we are in this story. Hannah, she in the beginning, she was irritated and her rival irritated. See the difference about me and my friend? I'm not irritated. I am enjoying this girl having this thing. If I was in Georgia, I would be in that thing with her because I see the blessings. I see the blessings for her and I see the blessings for me. But they didn't see that. They didn't see that. They are rivals, meaning we ain't on each other, we ain't on the same page. Hannah didn't see how she could be a godmom, how she can love on Panana's kids the way that Panana did. She didn't see how, oh, we have the same husband, we're in the same family. She didn't see the blessings that way. She was irritated. Why was she irritated? Because God irritated her. God needed her to be elevated. God needed her to do something so some fruit can be birthed in her. So, so we're gonna go ahead. So it says, because the Lord had closed Hannah's womb, her rival kept provoking her in order to irritate her. This went on year after year. Whenever Hannah went up to the house of the Lord, her rival provoked her till she wept and not eat. So could you imagine that you had a hater on the sidelines? It looked like they life together. Okay. It looks like they life together and they want to make yours look like it ain't together, that you ain't got it together and stuff like that. And they just irritate you like, that's why you ain't this, and that's why you don't have that, and that's why that, and that's why, and that's this, and this, and could you imagine the irritation that she had? This is, at this point, this is family. This is her family. They not saying, see, I'm not seeing family or unity. I'm seeing rival. That means since you got his favor, I'm gonna rub in your face what you can't give him, which is kids. And everybody know that I'm blessed because I have kids. So when you thinking, when you see these two, they're going, and she allowed this to happen, this irritation to happen, not thinking that this is God. God will not leave me. He gave me the thing that she wants. You know what I mean? So rather than being happy for each other and helping each other in their time of hardness and sadness, she's provoking Hannah in this moment. So and Hannah's like, Lord, I'm so irritated. I am not eating a thing. Since you can't bless me with the kids that I want, although I got the double portion and I got the favor of the man, I am not eating. I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated. That's it. I'm not eating. Then it says her husband would say to her, Hannah, why are you weeping? Why don't you eat? Why are you downhearted? Don't I mean more to you than 10 sons? Once, when they had finished eating and drinking in Shalom, Hannah stood up. Now, Eli, I think his name, Eli, the priest was sitting on his chair by the doorstep of the Lord's house. In her deep anguish, Hannah prayed to the Lord, weeping bitterly, and she made a vow saying, Lord, okay, I'm going to stop. I'm going to go back to 9 or 7, year after year. Well, 8. Her husband, she stopped eating. So her husband had a problem. Like, am I not good enough for you? Am I not good enough for you that he's upset with what's going on and he see what's going on and he's not with it. He's not down for it. But here's the thing. When people around you and they don't always understand your frustration. They don't always understand your complaint or your struggle because to them it doesn't seem that bad. To them it doesn't seem like you need the thing that you're asking for. Here, it didn't even say that Hannah responded to him. Hannah didn't speak to him about what she was feeling because she knew he couldn't understand. The problem is, Hannah didn't even understand why she had such a strong desire to produce a child for her husband. She did not understand. A lot of times we don't understand why we feel the way we do, why we get so irritated because things are not going the way, especially when we know that God is a deliverer, He's a healer, and He's a provider. He will provide for us. We don't always get it and we don't always understand, but we do get irritated. And the thing is, no, you're not good. No, the situation is not good. Why is it not good? Because God is trying to take me higher. God is trying to give me something that I know I can't get on my own. So do you want to know if I'm good where I'm at? No, because God has called me to be more. God has called you to be more, you to go higher than where you are. And when God is trying to elevate you, here ain't enough. Here is not going to be enough because you got to get where God is trying to get you to go. See, if Hannah didn't do what she was doing, if she didn't react the way she was reacting when Peninnah was trying to provoke her, she wouldn't have got where she was trying to get to. She wouldn't have stopped eating. For us, not eating is fasting. She ain't losing mind. She just lost her appetite. She lost her appetite for what she was used to having. She lost her appetite for things that couldn't help her get where she needs to be. And that's what we need to do. We need to lose our appetite for the things that cannot elevate us. We need to lose our appetite for people who are pulling us down, who are not speaking the same blessings on our lives as we are, for people who are not even claiming the Lord in their lives. We need to lose our appetite for the world. We need to lose our appetite for carnal thinking and stop going in that route. We need to be more elevated and saying, Christ, if this is for me, it's for me. I don't know how to get there, but all I do know is I want to get there with you. I want you to be able to elevate me and take me to higher heights and to deeper depths, Lord God. Whatever you want to do in my life, I need you to do it. And all these other things are not good enough. Okay. So then it says to 9 on 9, once when they finished eating and drinking, Hannah stood up. Now Eli, the priest, was sitting on his chair by the doorstep of the Lord's house. In her deep anguish, Hannah prayed to the Lord, weeping bitterly. And she made a vow saying, Lord Almighty, if you will only look on your servant's misery and remember me and not forget your servant, but give her a son, then I would give him to the Lord for all the days of his life, and no razor would ever be used on his head. Who would say that? Who would say, Lord, bless me with a child so I can deliver him back to you? Bless me with a child, and I promise I will do this. I will leave him where you are. You know what I mean? Nobody would do it. Hannah wouldn't have done it. Only reason Hannah did it because she got so desperate to do it God's way, no matter what that looked like, no matter what that felt like. She wanted to do it God's way. And if God would have blessed her with a son, then she knew that it could be done. She knew it could be done. And then if it happened one time, it could happen again. I'm a person that understands what it feels like to want to have a child, Now that's a physical thing. If God don't touch your body, it will not be touched. You know what I mean? You cannot be healed. People have told me time and time again, oh, you can't have the child. Oh, if you do have, you got to do in vitro. And even when I tried to do medication, oh, it's only a 20% chance this will work. But even the thing is, God did what he want to do. The only reason I had the desire to have a child is because he gave it to me. The only reason you have a desire to be where you want to be is because God gave it to you. That's why you're so irritated. That's why you can't stand for nobody to come and speak against where you trying to go. God gave it to you. So God gave it to you. You irritated, you frustrated because God needs you to pray a prayer that you ain't never prayed for. Guess what? If you don't know what that prayer is and you trying to still figure out, you ain't made it there yet. That means you got to be a little bit more irritated, a little bit more frustrated, a little bit more determined. You got to get desperate. You got to get desperate for God's way, the way he wants it and how he wants it. So now, Hannah, this is what Hannah says. Then it says, as she kept on praying to the Lord, Eli observed her mouth. Hannah was praying in her heart, and her lips were moving, but her voice was not heard. Eli thought she was drunk. This woman is drunk. She in the church drunk. and and said to her, how long are you going to stay drunk? Put away your wine. Okay. So So anyway, we're going to go ahead down to 15. Not so, my lord, Hannah replied. I am a woman who is deeply troubled. I have not been drinking wine or beer. I was pouring out my soul to the Lord. Do not take your servant for a wicked woman. I've been praying here out of my great anguish and grief. So sometimes, y'all, we do, and I'm big on this thing. We have to say crazy prayers. We have to pray to where when people around us seem like looking at us like we crazy, we got to pray for some things and being so determination and not pouring our grief out to others because they can't help us. But we need to take that to God so God can help us. God can deliver. He can provide. We have to have Hannah moments. We have to have Hannah moments. And to wrap up this story so you can know what happened next, Hannah ended up having this son that she asked for. And she ended up leaving it at the church with Eli, who raised him, and his name was Samuel. And for those of you who knew Samuel, Samuel caused damage to the enemy's camp day after day. He was one of the greatest prophets. That was the fruit that Hannah had to birth. She couldn't just be birthing kids. She couldn't just be having kids any normal kind of way, like the world, like everybody else did, just like Mary. She couldn't just have a child any kind of way. She had to birth Jesus. Hannah had to birth Samuel. What do you have to birth?